What up, world? R.I.C.H coming right back at you. Big U was already fighting for his life in federal court, but prosecutors now say he tried to reach out from inside the jail and silence a witness who could bury him. If that allegation holds up, Big U didn't just make this case worse. He may have helped the government prove that even behind a cell, you can't stop his influence.
So this is gonna probably be my last video. I'm gonna go turn myself in to see what's going on. They talking about I'm a fugitive. So they just raided all my houses. 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. And he's actually got video and footage of it. So y'all know what y'all dealing with. And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about whack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff. All of y'all filed. All y'all who be sending shit around the internet, all y'all who be promoting and listening to what these saying, all y'all giving these likes and hidden likes, all y'all supporting this. All y'all guilty of this shit. If you had something against a black man, you should handle it with a black man in the streets. Wack said 100 times he was gonna take my contracts. He working with the FBI. The FBI went to the city 3 days in a row and told the city they didn't want nobody to give me no more money. They went to all the different celebrities and told all the different celebrities, don't give me no money, don't help me, don't do nothing for me. They going around scaring and intimidating everybody. But y'all sitting it around getting people in trouble. Like y'all don't understand what the FBI do to black men who try to help their community. I ain't been nothing but a help to our community. But I guess it is what it is. This the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community and do what you can. You just guilty because somebody else don't like you and then go on the internet and do what the they want to, and y'all gonna promote it.
Big U was already facing one of the most serious federal cases possible before these new charges. The original indictment accused him of running what prosecutors described as a mafia-like enterprise that used his name, his street reputation, and his connections to control people and businesses around Los Angeles. The case already included allegations involving racketeering, extortion, financial fraud, charity money, and the death of a young artist connected to his label. Big U has pled not guilty, and he's expected to fight these charges at trial. But this was never a small case. The government claims it has more than 1 million items of evidence, including thousands of videos and tens of thousands of phone calls. That is why his trial was moved to February 2027. His lawyers say they need more time to go through the mountains of evidence the federal government has collected. So Big U was already sitting in a federal cell knowing his voice, his movements, his finances, his relationships, and years of his life were being reconstructed by the prosecutors. That has to be a terrible feeling. Every conversation you thought was private may not be played in a courtroom. Every person you thought was solid may now be a witness. And every old story people laughed about on the podcast may now appear inside a federal indictment. But the new allegations changed the temperature of this case completely. Because the government is no longer just accusing Big U of what he did while he was free. They are now accusing him of continuing to use his reputation and influence from behind bars.
And new at 4, the feds have brought new charges against a man known as Big U. He is accused of running a criminal enterprise in South L.A. while collecting millions of dollars in anti-gang money. Eugene Henley Jr. has been in federal custody for more than a year now. And prosecutors at this point say he tried to have a witness taken out. NBC4 investigative reporter Eric Leonard has been following this case since the beginning. He joins us live with an update. Eric.
Hi, Colleen. Well, federal prosecutors say this was a plot hatched from inside jail, where they say Henley was trying to pay other inmates to go after and attack a key witness. This allegedly happened last month while Henley was awaiting trial on conspiracy, racketeering, and fraud charges. This is Eugene Henley Jr. in a sketch from one of his initial appearances in federal court after he was arrested last year. Part of the initial case accused him of diverting public and donor money from his gang intervention programs and enriching himself. The feds say while he carried himself as a reformed gang leader working to prevent violence, in reality, he was still a shot caller on the streets, running a large criminal organization.
Mr. Henley operated BigU Enterprises, a mafia-like organization that utilized Mr. Henley's stature and long-standing association with the Crips criminal street gang and other gangs here in Los Angeles to intimidate businesses and individuals in our communities.
Now, 17 months after that arrest, the feds have brought new charges, alleging that Henley hatched a plot from behind bars to take out a witness against him. A superseding indictment unsealed today says on June 10th, last month, Henley offered to pay 2 inmates to kill or harm victim 1 in order to prevent that person from testifying. There are other new charges that allege Henley was involved in moving women across state lines for prostitution in 2022 and 2023, and that he filed a fraudulent application for a COVID-19 disaster loan. Henley's organizations received millions of dollars in public money to run anti-gang programs in South Los Angeles, much of it funneled through the mayor's office and its gang reduction and youth development program. Henley's defense lawyer says his client maintains his innocence and plans to fight all of these charges in court. I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News.
This is the type of allegation that can destroy a defendant before the trial even begins. According to this new filing, BigU approached 2 other inmates and asked about the layout of another housing unit. Prosecutors claim he then offered to pay them to have a government witness either eliminated or hurt badly enough that they couldn't testify. That led to new counts involving solicitation and tampering with a witness. Again, these are allegations. The government still has to prove what BigU actually said, what he intended, and whether these 2 inmates are telling the truth. But BigU is now in the worst position a person with his reputation can be in. He literally cannot trust anybody around him. The man sitting next to him could be looking for a pardon. He could be looking for money, or he could be looking at a sentence reduction. The person who says he respects BigU's name may be wearing a recording device or memorizing every word to repeat to federal agents. And that's the part people don't understand about jailhouse politics. A person can walk into custody thinking his reputation is going to make his time easier. People may bring him food. They may give him information. They may treat him like an OG. But that same reputation also makes him valuable to the government. Anybody who can get close enough to hear BigU talk may have something they can trade. BigU may have gotten comfortable because he spent a large part of his life locked up in institutions where his name is powerful. But federal custody is not a place where you can get comfortable. It is one of the most controlled and documented environments in the country. Your calls are recorded, your mail is reviewed, your visits are monitored, the people around you can be questioned, and once prosecutors believe you are trying to reach a witness, every conversation starts looking like part of a plan. BigU cannot move in silence because the government is listening to the silence between the words. They are not only recording what he says, they are studying who he says it to, when he says it, and what happens after he says it. And this new accusation gives prosecutors something they desperately need in a RICO case. It gives them a current example of the same power structure that they said existed on the street. The original theory is that BigU used his reputation to make people follow orders, pay money, and stay in line. Now they're saying he's used that same reputation in jail to try to stop a witness from going to the courtroom. That is why this is so damaging. Even if the new allegations are separate from the original charges, prosecutors will try to make it feel like the same movie with a different location. On the street, they say he controlled people through fear. Inside the jail, they say he tried to use other inmates to silence a witness. That is the story they will sell to a jury. And if BigU's lawyers can't break the credibility of those 2 inmates, this could become one of the strongest parts of the government's case. I would not be surprised if officials now restrict his movement, separate him from other inmates, or move him to a more controlled unit. If the government believes BigU can use his influence to reach witnesses inside federal custody, they are going to argue that regular detention is not enough for him. That is how a person ends up with fewer calls, fewer visitors, and almost no idea who around him can be trusted.
Your old trick some money. So me tricking BigU was real close at the time, right? Hey, future old bro some money. All right, trick in Detroit. Me and BigU on a red-eye flight to Atlanta. We coming to LAX. We coming through the security, putting our bag through the thing. Who we see on the other side? Future and the girl that's with the football player, right? What's his baby?
Sierra.
We see Future and Sierra. I say, bro, is that who I think it is? He looked. I said, yeah. I said, you take. I got him. When we come to the thing, I say, hey, homie, you got that money for Trick? He take off running. I'm chasing on the dead homies through the Delta to a terminal, and he runs into the thing, but it ain't hooked up to no plane.
He left his.
He left you.
Oh, bro.
He runs into the terminal. True story. He runs into the terminal, right? When he run into the terminal, he take his phone out, right? He know he can only go so far. Cause what you gonna do? Jump onto the runway? That's a long drop down there, right? He throws the phone at me on speaker. All I hear is Stunner voice. He say, "What? It's me, Stunner. Talk to me." I say, "Stunner, I'm busy right now." He said, "Yeah, but I don't want you to be, nephew. What's going on?" I say, "Oh, Trick a bag. He can't be in our backyard, and he owe bro a bag. Either he gonna pay, or he finna get up, and then he gonna pay." Right?
This is where an old Clubhouse story has now become more serious than just entertainment. Wack 100 previously said that him and Big U ran into Future at LAX over money that was owed to rapper Trick. Wack said Future took off running through the airport and eventually called Birdman to help settle the situation. At the time, people treated it like another wild Wack 100 story. But the new indictment allegedly involves an airport incident involving Big U, his associate, a Grammy-winning artist, and an attempt to collect the debt. That does not automatically prove what Wack said is true, but the details match perfectly. And Wack's own story has been publicly denied by the people he says were involved. But this is why Big U's image has become so dangerous for his defense. For years, there's been stories about checking in, pressing people, collecting money, and controlling every dollar that went through Los Angeles. Those stories made Big U look powerful. They made people respect him. Now prosecutors are taking that same legend and trying to turn it into a business model. They saying this ain't just Big U being respected. They are saying the reputation was used to create money, control, and fear. When everything is going well, people call it influence. When the federal government is building a case, they call it an enterprise. And Wack 100 may have thought he was telling a funny story about Future running through the airport. But prosecutors can hear that same story and say it supports their theory that Big U used associates to collect money. That is a completely different audience.
Start off just lying, dog. What's the one name? The singer. His baby mama. Bro, you know Sierra name, bro. Stop playing. Niggas is crazy, bro. Like, bro. And then, it don't even sound realistic at all, though. Like, you telling me you ran down on Pluto and Sierra? Oh, you's a bad mother. Oh, this nigga crazy.
This denial is important because the government does not get to turn every hip-hop story into a fact just because it sounds good in their indictment. Future's artist Doughboy laughed at the accusation. Future responded with laughing emojis. And Big U himself has publicly denied that this situation ever happened. That creates a real problem that the government will eventually have to explain. Is the airport allegation based on Wack's old story? Is it based on a different witness? Is it the same incident with different details? Or is the person identified as the Grammy-winning artist not even Future at all? Those details matter. And an indictment is an accusation. Big U's defense will have an opportunity to challenge the witnesses, the dates, the recordings, and every contradiction. But the airport incident also shows why Big U's case is so difficult. The government don't have to rely on one incident. They have years of public interviews, private recordings, witness accounts, and stories from people who were right there. If one story falls apart, they just gonna move on to the next one. And if one witness looks unreliable, they will try to support that person with a phone call, a video, or another witness. That is what more than 1 million pieces of discovery means. Big U is not fighting one allegation. He is fighting the government's interpretation of his entire adult life. And these new jailhouse charges may be the most important because they fresh. The government don't have to ask the jury to remember what happened in 2024. They can say this allegedly happened in June of 2026 while he was already in custody, already had a lawyer, and was already aware that the government was recording everything around him. That makes this allegation look reckless. It makes it look like Big U believed his name carried enough weight to reach somebody that the government was protecting. And it allows prosecutors to show that he didn't learn, he didn't slow down, and that he did not stop trying to control the people around the case. So I'm gonna take y'all out like this. Big U was already in a federal nightmare. The original case accused him of using his reputation as an OG, music executive, and community leader to operate a criminal enterprise. Now the government is accusing him of using that same reputation inside jail to reach a federal witness. If the two inmates are lying, Big U's lawyers need to expose what they were offered, what they expected to gain, and whether their stories match. But if the government has recordings, messages, or independent evidence supporting their accounts, Big U may have created a second case while waiting to fight the first one. That's the worst part about his situation. He can't trust the people in the streets. He can't trust the people in jail. He can't trust a phone call. He can't trust a jail visit. And he definitely cannot trust a person who suddenly wants to help him handle a problem. Big U may have spent years thinking his reputation was his strongest form of protection. Now that same reputation may be the reason everybody around him is getting watched. The feds watched him on the street. They watching his ass in jail. And if these new allegations are true, Big U may have proven their biggest point against him, that the enterprise was never just a building, a business, or a group of people. It was his influence. And until a jury decides what is true, Big U is now trapped in a case where almost every person who gets close to him could become another part of the evidence. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe. Established Rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.